Hi everyone. My case study was very much a micro-level look at one person's life and experiences with the child welfare system. I was drawn to the case because it was something new to me. I've never had a child client who was as engaged in her own case as this one. She made it really clear from the beginning that she wanted to be involved and understand what was going on, and that she had some opinions that weren't being heard. So it was a new thing for me, and it was kind of exciting. A lot about this case study has inspired me, most importantly the people. My client is amazing. She is incredibly resilient and determined. Her grandmother is equally inspiring. She's been a constant support to my client and everyone else in her family. The child protection specialists have also been inspiring. They work tirelessly and they have made incredible efforts to help my client despite some challenges. Some things I've found challenging, well, number one has been the rigidness of the system and the standards that CPS has to apply to children in their care, even when in a particular case those standards don't really make a lot of sense to anybody, and everybody recognizes that. They're still sort of the rules that we all follow. The teaching learning was a core process that was especially represented in this case study. For the key concept of meaning, this played a big part. My client was in the process of adjusting some of her own meanings and learning to understand some things in a different way. One really clear example of that is just, what is mother? Motherhood has meant something very different to my client as a child in the system than it does now as a mother herself. As a foster child in the care of the state, mother is starting to mean something even more different now that she's learning some skills and sort of starting to understand what the expectations of the state are in terms of parenting. Similar shifts in meaning have taken place around other concepts too, things like what is it to be a child, what is a family, what's your home, and other things. The key concept of context here speaks to some of the challenges I mentioned above. In this case, my client is a child. She's temporarily in the custody of the state, and that means that certain rules and standards suddenly apply to her that haven't in the past. As an example, my client has not attended school for 3 years prior to being placed in foster care, but is now expected to go every day. The context here inhibits some learning. In that the state is requiring her to attend. She's not prepared or interested in doing that, and it's preventing her from spending that time and energy pursuing her GED or HiSET, which is something that she actively wants to do and has been working toward prior to this. Neither my client or CPS is willing to budge on this at that point. So this is becoming an expression of sort of power over. The key concept of power in this case, there are some definite exercises of power in my client's life right now. There's been a shift in the power dynamics between the CPS, the state, and my client. That relationship has gone from one of power with, when the state was really supporting my client, working to keep her safe, and she recognized that, to now being one of power over when my client became a mother. So from my client's perspective, the state went from helping her, trying to keep her safe, to now telling her what to do and threatening to take away her baby. Applying the process of teaching learning here, my client is starting to look at some of those patterns, I think, between her own experiences as a foster child and the current interest the state is taking in her own parenting. And maybe this is an opportunity to deepen her understanding of how the system works and understand her power in challenging what doesn't work for her. Likewise, the key concept of history offers a chance to see some patterns present in my client's life and the lives of her family members, and how those might connect or diverge. When we look at this, we kind of start to see some connections and learn from the opportunities and challenges and choices that have led my client into her current place, other people's choices, and her own. I think this case study raises a lot of learning opportunities around the concept of possibility. My client's positionality as both a foster kid and a mother alone gives her a unique perspective. When we add in her engagement in the process and her burning desire to understand and impact the process that's taking place around her, she starts to be almost a unicorn of a learning opportunity. That said, I think there's a danger here as a practitioner. I may get so caught up in looking at what I can learn from her that I lose sight of the fact that it's her life and her story, and that my job is to help her navigate the court system. So, all of that being said, thank you for listening. This was a great experience, and I appreciate the opportunity.